What if you found a portal to a parallel universe? What if you could slide into 1,000 different worlds? Where it's the same year, and you're the same person, but everything else is different. And what if you can't find your way home?
Hey guys, we're finally here. Sliders, Season 3. Okay, I have to explain to you something right now. This is the point in the series where it really goes to shit. And it's not even an exaggeration to say that. So, let me do you a favor, and I'll explain to you a bit of a problem with the season so far. The problem with the season was that there was some problems with the creator Tracy Torme and one of the producers, David Peckinpah. Mainly, David Peckinpah's an asshole and kept fucking with Torme's shit, and eventually Torme left, which caused the show to decline in quality. Because, you know, without the original creator, the show doesn't do well. So, basically, all the same characters, Quinn, Wade, Arturo, and Rembrandt, they all open up the season, which is great. And I should probably explain why it's taken so long for me to make this, considering I did seasons 1 and 2 together. Season 3 is not good, and it took me a while to finish, because 1, the school year started up again, so I didn't have a lot of time to watch it, and 2, I didn't want to watch it. Believe it or not. There's actually one episode in here that I'll get to that I never finished watching, just because it was so friggin' bad. So, yeah, so we'll start at the beginning. And I'm going to glance at my phone every so often because I can't remember all the names of the episodes, because I watched a lot of these back in, like, August. And, you know, it took me a month to finish. So, more than a month. So, give me a sec. The first episode of the season was Rules of the Game, which is an episode where, they land on a world where it's like a live-action war game. So it's like a game show, but you can actually die. And they do it, and Arturo actually gets injured, and he goes blind, and he wants them to just leave him, because he has a bit of a problem of not wanting to ask for help, which I understand. I have the same problem sometimes. So they do that, but eventually they win and they slide out. You know, no problem. Problem, however, that wasn't supposed to be the first episode. That was aired after. And the first episode of the season was meant to be Double Cross. So, Double Cross is, they land on this world where San Francisco and Los Angeles and the areas in between are, like, merged together. So, and it's this world that has limited resources. And they actually run into people developing sliding technology. And the people developing it were this woman named Logan St. Clair and Professor Arturo's double. However, he died in a sliding accident because they had a problem where their timer would kill them upon re-entry for whatever reason. And so that happens, and then as they go through the episode, they learn something's up, because Logan wants the timer and stuff, and they eventually learn that Logan is actually Quinn's double, who, you know, X chromosome instead of a Y chromosome, and had Mrs. Mallory remarried in that universe after Michael Mallory's death to a guy whose last name was St. Clair, and Logan took the name. And she killed Arturo because she wanted to use it to steal resources and hold him hostage from other universes, and Arturo would rather see sliding destroyed than used for evil. Which, I guess, Arturo and him are similar on that front. And, in the end, they take they switch this, geo-synchronizer or something. The thing, like, where they had the radius, where they would land in, like, a 2-mile radius of Golden Gate Park. But instead, now it's fixed where they can go anywhere between LA and San Francisco. Which... So yeah, they can go in between San Francisco and Los Angeles, which is obviously a problem for them. And Logan is trapped sliding like them. And the next episode is Electric Twister Acid Test, where they land on a barren wasteland where it's ravaged by tornadoes, but there's like one area of like utopia-ish, where it's like a bunch of Amish people, and it's a really friggin' stupid episode, and I didn't like it, and I'm just kind of gonna skip over it, because I don't want to bore you with it. Next episode is The Guardian, and no, it's not about Ultima. It's about this, it's our world, or rather Earth Prime, but 12 years in the past. And Quinn uses it as an opportunity to save the younger him of that world from doing a very terrible thing to a bully. Because in our universe, Quinn beat the bully with a baseball bat and screwed up his knee. But Quinn avoids it in this universe. And Arturo also finds out that he has a terminal disease, which is kind of John Rhys Davies' ride out of the series. Just wait till he dies of natural causes. Or not, and we'll talk about that later on. And the next episode after that was The Dream Masters, where it's a world where terrorists use drugs to enter your dreams. It's a kind of a weed-centered episode where she pisses one of them off, and it goes into her dream and starts fucking with her. And it's another really stupid episode, so I'm going to skip that as well. And then the next episode is Desert Storm, which is about a desert world where there's like a fight for water. And it's, again, really stupid. This Season 3 had a lot of really friggin' stupid episodes. So, after that, Dragon Slide. I never finished that episode. I couldn't. It was that bad. It's a world where... It's basically Malachite's world. It's a world where magic evolves instead of technology. And it is the stupidest episode of this entire season by far. And, yeah. And then the next episode is called The Fire Within, where a sentient fire, thing tries to take over a world. But, it's stupid too. And then we have The Prince of Slides, where, Rembrandt is mistaken for his double. And it's a world where women cannot carry babies to full term, so they put them into the men. And Rembrandt's getting married to this woman who, in the normal reality, he never got anywhere with, and he's mistaken for his double, who went missing. Kind of like in The King is Back, except for the fact that in this universe, that Rembrandt comes back, and, you know, everything goes to plan. But Rembrandt thinks he's going in for a transfusion, and, you know, he gets a baby inside of him. And he holds up the guys up until his double returns, and it turns out that there was a plot to kill his double so the baby wouldn't be born, so that the next in line to the throne would get it. And it was a stupid plot by the villains, because they let it get foiled way too easily, but it was an overall okay episode for Season 3. And the next man is Dead Man Sliding, where, a world where, like, court is, like, televised and stuff, and Quinn is on trial for something his double did, except he didn't commit the crime, and neither did his double. It was Quinn of that world being set up. And, you know, in the end, everything is okay, but it doesn't start well. And the next episode is State of the Art, which the guest star is Freddy Krueger. You would have thought he would have been back in that Dream Masters episode, but no. in this episode, he plays a guy that created a bunch of robots because humanity died out, but he wants to put Quinn and Rembrandt into robots. And it turns out that he was a robot the entire time. That when he was building a robotic body, he got hurt badly, and so they implanted his brain into the robot. And the robot version of him dies, and the robots inherit the Earth. So the next episode is Season's Greetings, where there's this mall where you get jobs to pay. That you can buy anything, but if you have debt, you can get a job to pay off the debt. But you keep getting debt piled on debt, and you can never escape it. And in this universe, Wade didn't exist. Her father and sister exist, but her mom died in childbirth with her. So she has to like kind of hide from her relatives' doubles because she doesn't want to face them. And in the end, she reveals it to her sister, and they take down the evil mall. And then the next episode is Murder Most Foul, which is basically let's make John Rhys Davies the main character of Ripper. Yeah. And it's another stupid episode where they're in this world where they send people that are like fucked up in the brain to this place to heal, whatever. Next episode is Slide Like an Egyptian, where they land on an Egyptian world where Quinn gets used for life after death experiments, and the death of the original timer, because they're trapped in a pyramid, and they let the timer go off and risk being trapped there for 30 years because they don't want to slide without Quinn. But it turns out that that world discovered sliding, and they take a timer and they get out. Next episode is Paradise Lost, where there's like a giant worm that eats people, and it's another dumb episode. And then The Exodus, John Rhys Davies' final episode of Sliders. Basically, they land in a world that's about to be destroyed by a pulsar, and they get enlisted by the military there to help them create sliding so that you travel to another world to save as many people as they can. And there's a guy going around taking brain fluid and leaving people in comas, and it turns out that that person is the colonel of the base, Colonel Angus Rickman, played by Roger Daltrey of The Who. And so they do that, and they help them, but then they regret it because the guy takes brain fluid from Arturo and leaves him in a nearly comatose state where it's like he's kind of like Lou Ferrigno in Cage. And Arturo's last act is jumping in front of a bullet for Quinn. And that's how Arturo dies. And then we get introduced to the person to replace Arturo. Maggie Beckett, played by Carrie Werr from Beastmaster 2. And I don't like her. Like, I didn't like, what's her name? Dr. Soroyan from Bones when I first met her in the show, but I got over it because I ended up actually liking her character. But Maggie Beckett, oh, fuck no, she's terrible. Oh, God. I just really don't like her, and I want to, but I don't. Even by the end of the season, she doesn't fix it. So they escape, and then they have to find suitable worlds, and they actually find Earth Prime. However, Maggie can't breathe there, so Quinn doesn't get to stay too long, but he has the coordinates. However, Rickman steals the timer and runs off. So so the arc for the rest of the season is getting the timer back. And now I'm gonna try to fly through the episodes because they get stupid and like they're not good after this one. So they go into a zombie world. Then they go into a world where Maggie is infected by a parasite. Then they go into a world where it's superstitious and there's this fog stuff that chokes everybody but Maggie and Rickman because it's made of the same pollutants from their world. And then we have a flashback episode where it's John Rhys Davies' final episode in not in chronological order of the slides, but in episode order. And it's a world where there's an underground city. And for the last episode, I get to see Arturo in. It's not good. Then they do one where snakes. Why did it have to be snakes? Then they go back to the Survivor world, and Rickman's there. And they start to, they find Rickman, but of course Rickman escapes again. Then the next world is Stoker, where it's world with vampires on it, and you have Tommy Chong as Van Helsing, and it's overall a really dumb episode. And Rickman's there, and yada yada. Then, this slide to Paradise, where they land on a Dr. Moreau world, where, the, guy from Austin Powers that always gave Austin the information, is like Dr. Moreau. And so, Rickman has impure fluid, because he's getting stuff from animal-human hybrids. So basically, he goes out like the Master from Doctor Who. He becomes half animal, and then gets abandoned on the planet. So they take the timer back, and they open the portal, and Quinn and Rembrandt go through, because Quinn doesn't want to leave Maggie, which is stupid. So Maggie jumps through the portal, and Rickman tries to jump in the portal, but he ends up going off a cliff, and then Quinn and Maggie try to track the wormhole, but they end up lost for 3 months. And that's Season 3 of Sliders, and it's terrible. I hope I can get through Season 4. I don't think I can, but I'll try, and that was my thoughts. Why'd they kill Arturo?